intensity to a bit more and a bit more. And
yeah. I think you're right too. I've started to notice that as well, because it's like once it gets really intense, the first reaction is like, oh fuck, like, dude, I can't do this. And it's like, okay, well, is that really true? Is that just an assumption? Like, let's just sit with it a little longer. And as I feel more of it, I realize it's not so scary, but it's still pretty intense.
You've got me thinking now, Doug. Actually, I'm wondering about the possibility, Alex, of you perhaps being able to move between samatha and this more vipassana-ended watching, allowing, and kind of move between the two as necessary.
Yeah.
During one sit.
Yeah, that's actually
what I play with.
Yeah, that's actually organically what it's come to, because it gets so intense. Okay, I just gotta enjoy the breath. Okay, it gets intense. Okay, can I enjoy this? Can I enjoy the intensity? Can I enjoy this? Is there any part of this that's enjoyable?
Because what a ride. I mean, people take themselves onto roller coasters. People go seeking intensity, you know?
Yeah, I know, but this is like...
Well, you went seeking it too, as you said.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
You kind of feel like, I want to get off the ride now.
Yeah. Well, not get off. Just be able to... Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I'm not trying to seek intensity necessarily. Yeah.
You're going to have experiences, right? Experiences of wanting it, experiences of not wanting it, bring it on, and then, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Experiences of calm abiding, experiences of allowing, it's all in there.
Yeah.
You know what to do. Can you just be cool?
Yeah.
The
other thing that I'm dealing with is I notice I have like I feel really weak and insecure when I'm around my girlfriend, when I'm around Abby, and I'm feeling this way. And she's totally cool with it, which makes it even worse because I'm not accepting myself as I am when I'm with her. But I was in the shower this morning and I stopped for a second and I thought about, what is this? What is this thought that I have that I feel insecure or that I feel weak? Where is that? Not where is it coming from, but is it true? Is it actually true? Because it's almost as soon as I have that thought, I think that it has some kind of substance, like there's actually something going on that I'm relying on as data that tells me I'm insecure. And the only thing I've been able to come up with so far is I'll have like thoughts, of like, oh, I don't know what she's going to think of that, or she might think I'm weak. But again, that's just another thought. And then that might be doubt. But then again, really, what is doubt? So I think I'm interested in going further in that inquiry and seeing like the emptiness of that. I wonder if there really is no insecure at all, because it's like, where is that? Like, where is it really? I can't find it. I can't find it. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, well, where is doubt? Where is insecure? Other than these things that I'm spontaneously labeling them as, after thoughts happen in the mind that I draw conclusions about. So, yeah.
Rick?
So I'd like to speak to that for a second about the insecurity stuff. I found that, and I've worked on that a lot. I've worked on this investigation a lot, and I found that I had an image of myself, like a perfect image that I think was partially socially constructed, and maybe just constructed from many different things. And it was coming by me like trying to measure, constantly have some sort of a measurement of like, how am I measuring up to this sort of perfect ideal standard of whatever it is, whether it's physical or intellectual or whatever. And eventually through my own investigation and other means as well, I was able to drop that standard and understand that there's never going to be an objective way of getting down to whether or not you're actually living up to that or not. And I know it sounds really intellectual what I'm talking about and not emotional, because this is an emotional feeling, but somehow and I'm still working on it. There's no perfection on this at this point, but I'm finding that by realizing that there's no objective way of measuring it, that I'm able to emotionally release that need, and it's become a lot easier to handle it. And then the thought comes back up, and rather than let it chase me down or haunt me as you might have it, it doesn't haunt me the way it used to. It's almost laughable. It's like, oh, look at you coming back, you perfection image again. Really, you're back. And then it's like, this is, and I see it for what it is. It seems like it's coming from me, but I see it as external now, and that's better, because I'm like, it's almost like a commercial. It's like, oh look, here comes this commercial again, trying to tell me, like, hey, this is what you're not living up to. This is the behavior that you're not meeting. And I'm like, but that's just a social commercial that I've been indoctrinated with, and I know that it's not attainable. It's not worth it. And so when I'm able to go through that process, and it may only take a few seconds, or it may take me a meditation to do it, then I'm able to release it, and then I feel a heck of a lot better, because I'm like, oh, that was just it was just a commercial, but it wasn't. It's like a tape, That's it.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, I don't know if that is helpful at all, but that's how I've been able to sort of manage it a bit.
It is helpful. I could actually see when you said like a tape, like a commercial, I could actually relate to that it is kind of in that moment when I was investigating and asking myself, well, what is this really? What is insecurity? What is doubt? I notice it in retrospect is like, it's nothing but I think, I don't know. I'm going to continue investigating, but I suspect it's a thought. It's nothing but a thought, and that's it. And it's a conclusion that's drawn about the thought.
Well, what could it be? But there's only a few categories that it could be: thought, sensation.
Yeah. Right.
Right. When you really break it down and you get present.
Yeah.
Sensation really can include all of it in the end.
Because to me,
it's a weird term. We could think about mental sensation.
But to me, it's about, the key here is this measurement thing, right? The inadequacy or the insecurity, I feel, comes from trying to make a measurement somehow, and it's not equaling up, right? That's the key. So then where is the standard? Where's this measurement? That's my point, as far as but you can't just stop measuring. That's really difficult to just say, oh, look at me measuring again. It's almost like you have to see the illusion of the point you're measuring up to. Say, oh, that's not real. Then you can drop your measuring tape and go, okay, that's just that doesn't lead to edification or peace at all. But first, for me anyway, I think it's important to see the unreality of that, whatever that standard is. That was, to me, I feel like it was given to me by culture and society. So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that is, I think we're saying it in different words, but when I saw that it was just a thought, or when I asked myself, what is that? What is insecurity? I think I didn't use the same words as you, Rick, but I saw it as a measurement. I saw it as some kind of invisible standard that I'm holding myself up to that doesn't really actually exist. Like, who's actually to say that just because I'm crying and I'm feeling down about myself, that means I'm insecure? Like, what if I'm just crying? You know, like, it's interesting. Like that, I just think of like an animal, you know, if you see an animal crying, like, you're not going to say, oh, they're insecure.
Right. Like, what an insecure monkey.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
What an insecure dog, right?
It's really interesting. It's like, once you really look at it, it's like, wait a minute, where is this anyway?
Yeah.
Pull
yourself together, monkey.
Come on, life's hard. No one's just gonna give you bananas. What's wrong with you? You have to work for those bananas.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I suspect you won't be at it for long, dear Alex. Seeing the way you're seeing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Great to see you again, Olivia. I know that you're tired pretty much all the time, so it's great to see you showing up for the Dhamma.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay for long this time because I am really tired. But yeah, I just thought I'd put my head in.
Well, yeah, I was aware that you just kind of kept going last week.
I know. It's just such a good. I felt quite good last week. And it was a good conversation, but I probably should have left like 40 minutes earlier. But there we go.
Of course, they're all recorded, right? All of the chats are recorded, and then if you have anything to add, then I'm sure any of us will take a call from you, or you can drop a text in the chat, or whatever.
I think it was just, it's in that moment, isn't it? And you kind of, you're enjoying it, so you grab at it, don't you? You go, oh, I can't have it another time, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But no, it was fine.
Like a big fat Dharma chocolate cake. Gotta have it now.
That sounds good, to be honest.
Gotta have it now. So Doug and Alex, I wanted to thank you again for your patience. I know you've both been trying to get hold of me this week, and I've been busier and busier with drum teaching. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to you all is a kind of interesting, is it a challenge? Challenge would be too strong of a word. It's just something that I'm seeing, that there appears to be a transition occurring for me, which is a transition between teaching drums with most of my time to teaching Dharma with most of my time. Currently, I have missed calls from you guys coming in, and meanwhile I'm, and here we are measuring again. But I am of the opinion that it's more beneficial for me to be talking to you guys than it is to be teaching. So what do I do about that? This is what I've been thinking about. And for the things that I've been doing more recently, as Parker you're aware of, is I've been reaching out on Twitter. One of the things that I became aware of as I was doing that is how late to that party I am. That party's been going on for some time. Twitter is now saturated with lots of folks all trying to prove that they're more wise than one another.
Are they trying to out-zen each other?
There's some of that going on. Yeah, there's some really good stuff too. But of course, the folks who are just kind of tweeting Dharma stuff have very small followings, as you would imagine. It's an attention marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right, as is most social media at this point.
Right.
It's an attention marketplace. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to balance some ideas. I don't ever want to charge for Dhamma. Dhammarato gave it to me freely, and so I want to continue to pass it freely. So the model that makes sense is a donation model. And the way to make that work is, of course, to reach lots of people. So you talk to a large number of people and 0.01% of them happen to be stinking rich, and they take care of your rent for the month. And all kinds of people are doing this on the internet. So I figured that's worth a shot, but it's unlikely to happen on Twitter. Unlikely to happen on Twitter, it seems. Or, well, I could spend a couple years pummeling out tweets. So I got to thinking as I was doing this, the folks who were early to that party, it was easier for those guys. In the infancy of a social network, there's organic reach. The social network wants people to reach one another so as to attract more users, to generate buzz, to get things going. So I started to look out for, well, okay, what's the next party? What's the next thing? What's the next Twitter that's going to show up? And it turns out it's virtual reality.
Now I'm intrigued.
I started digging around, and there's a huge buzz. It seems the internet is changing a lot. Millions and millions of dollars are being thrown around by developers, investors, all sorts. You have, on the one hand, blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, and you have, on the other hand, virtual reality. And these two things, it appears, are going to change the way the internet works. So that's the new party. So the obvious thing to do seems to be to set up some kind of virtual environment for Sangha, for all of this, and for anyone else who comes along who wants to get involved. Imagine this, but in 3 dimensions, with a nice waterfall over there, or a big old Bodhi tree over there, and
yeah, Dag's tree would be in 3D. So
what was that, Rick?
I said Doug's tree would be in 3D.
Hey guys.
Right. Yes. Hey Ron, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good, brother.
I'm good. Absolutely great.
Good. Thanks to you for your patience as well.
Of course.
I know that I've missed calls, and I'm just talking about this apparent transition that appears to be taking place in my life between drums and Dhamma, and how the next frontier is virtual reality.
Oh yeah, hopping on the metaverse wave.
So then, you mean to tell me that in a year's time I'll be sitting here with the VR goggles on?
Well, that's up to you. So one of the things that's obvious about this is it being such a new thing. Of course, not everyone has the hardware yet. So I started speaking to a couple folks who were very keen on getting some kind of mindfulness thing going.
VR?
Yeah.
That's very smart.
Yeah, man. Just because there's going to be organic reach.
Yeah.
Right. So where, we've been talking about Twitter, you and I, and it is what it is. It's saturated.
But the question is, how could you incorporate mindfulness into virtual reality? Because I was always, I'd always had that thought in the back of my head, we have the technology to completely simulate an alternate form of reality. Now the question is, how would you use that to, I guess, implicate or fabricate the idea of mindfulness?
Oh, piece of cake. I mean, it would go down exactly as this is right now, except with an added third dimension. So the piece of software that was recommended to me actually allows people to access the environment through a regular browser, so that you can just be walking around in this virtual environment like you would a simple video game. But that those who have the hardware can have the full three-dimensional experience. And so we end up with something where folks can drop in, hang out, have a chat, maybe hear a little bit about the Dhamma if they please, and go on their merry way.
And you can have like a cool Buddha avatar or something like that.
Oh well, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be quite that brave.
I would. I'll do it.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
Hey Ryan, good to see you.
Hi Ryan.
Yes, Ryan.
It's been a while since I've seen Ryan.
Yeah. Good to have you back, Ryan.
Cheers, Baba. Thank you. It's good to be here.
So those are my thoughts. I wonder if anyone has any of their own.
Yeah, I can share something that one thought that I've heard in other social media platforms, and we can use in the case of Twitter, is that if you want to get big on Twitter, tweeting is not the way to do it, in the sense that the other way that it was presented is if you want to get big on like the live streaming platform Twitch, just live streaming isn't the way to do that, because there are platforms that have like organic reach, like you're talking about, and platforms not. And you've kind of got a little bit of understanding of that with like replying to tweets, and getting some organic views there. But certainly Twitter, unless you post some thing that somehow hits a spark and like someone big retweets it or something, that's how you would get organic followers, right?
No, you need to get one of the big guys to answer on Twitter.
Sorry, Ron?
You need to get one of the big guys to respond on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
And so
and that can happen. I've looked into Twitter, and there is a balance to be found between partaking too much in that attention marketplace kind of vibe, but at the same time making a message palatable.
Yes.
Right? So we're not just heading and going, hey, this is the Four Noble Truths and you'll need to listen. Right? Just trying to kind of be friendly, basically.
And using words that people already know and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
so
it seems to have been working well. There's, I've made some fun connections with folks, and there's been some good connection. Nonetheless, it's to estimate probably been something like 100 comments generates a follower. So that's pretty slow. Now, in the infancy of Twitter, it would have been quite a different story. So one would reach interested folks by use of a simple hashtag or whatever, just by the fact that the population was so small. So that's what got me thinking, well, okay, where is a small population now?
Yes.
Where is a small population among which who knows how many folks there will be talking about mindfulness, talking about all the kind of stuff that we like to talk about here. And it just turns out that it's virtual reality, which is an interesting phenomenon itself. So we'll see what happens. plan. That's the plan, and I see reaching a wide audience being the only way that I'm going to be able to transition out of teaching drums.
Yes, I'm not sure if you've looked into other video platforms, or I mentioned to you once that video platforms are often popular in terms of the short term, because things like TikTok, although like Twitter, there isn't much conversion. I don't know if it's Twitter much, but people usually stay on the app and don't reach out to the content creators specifically. But the content there is so short form, and the algorithm trains very quickly in terms of what the users like and what your videos would, who they would look good in front of.
Right.
So that is an idea that I'll soon be experimenting with the Dhammarato videos, and started with in the past. But
Great.
it is. I agree with your point that there is sort of like groups of people that have already formed their things, and those are going to be the most attractive for people, say, searching Google, right? Like you can't really get into that SEO stuff because there are these certain people that just have these big teams behind it.
Yeah.
So the idea is to find a smaller niche that isn't.
And that's
there's one kind of indirect way to get yourself like a higher amount of traffic on Twitter or maybe even Discord. So this is kind of like an indirect way, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say, have you looked at all like into like NFTs or anything?
No, now obviously that's about monetary value, which I'm trying to stay away from.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just that I've been looking into them a lot over these past few weeks, and I noticed for every new drop that there is, there's always like a kind of theme to it, and then on top of that, they always have like a Twitter page and a Discord, and the way people get towards getting their NFTs is by being active and contributing and talking. And I was thinking, maybe I can make like a Buddha NFT.
Oh, sure. Why not? I mean, it sounds like certainly there's a way for us to cover a lot of bases.
Yeah, and that way, people who would actually be somewhat interested in buying something like that would be the ones joining.
Sure. I mean, the idea hasn't gone much further for me than I'll just set up a space where people can come and hang out and talk Dhamma. That's as far as I've gone with it. So anyone who wants to kind of rally around, great. And my thinking is what this will mean is that we'll all get to hang out together more.
Oh, yeah.
And I won't have to keep ignoring you guys.
Well, that was a long way around.
That
was a long way around, Dan.
That was
like 20 minutes ago you were talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Long road.
I must have just joined the chat like 15 minutes ago then.
Yeah. Alex, you've got your hand up, brother.
Yeah, I was fine. Okay. I just wanted to say that sounds really cool, Dan. I never thought that that's something that you'd be looking at.
Neither did I.
What?
Neither did I.
Yeah. It's just funny because, like, which, by the way, guys, this is Abby.
Hey, Abby.
Hello.
Abby.
We were watching a movie last night. What is it called? Ready Player One. Ready Player One. And it's a virtual reality movie about this guy who, like, goes into this virtual reality universe and he has, like, a whole nother life there. And, because at one point Abby was like, man, why can't this just be real life? And I was like, yeah.
I mean, it will be.
Cool. But it's funny that you're actually like thinking of meeting as a Sangha on virtual reality. Like, you think that would just instantly make you more, I feel like popular is like not a good word, but more well known? People would be more interested?
It's the amount of interest will be roughly the same, I imagine. Although I think we're probably seeing an uptick in interest in mindfulness and mental health in general.
I mean, if I could just,
it's about the organic reach. It's about the fact that the hope is that one doesn't have to play the attention game so much. One can just create an environment and say, hey, we do mindfulness here, and serve. That's the I won't know until I try. But we can draw evidence from the way that social networks in their infancy have gone in the past, in that it's been easier to grow in the early days. Okay, Olivia, great to see you.
You too.
Bye, Olivia. Good seeing you.
See you next week. Bye.
Have you done any research on what it looks like in terms of finding, or like how you would find like naturally new people? Because that would be the key to anything that new venture, right? How do natural new people find the group?
Unless it's been the case historically, and I can't know for sure because I was never there, but it appears to be the case that in those early stages of something new, rather than a creator having to go and find an audience, the audience finds the creator.
Yeah.
The social network is looking for ways to attract people to its platform, and so it puts the creators in front of people.
Yeah, no, I was going to kind of add on to that, because I was going to say that although virtual technology has been out for a few years, this VR platform where people can, communicate with each other like that is still very relatively new. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of people who are into mindfulness and who practice spirituality, so to speak. They're getting their information and they're talking to their own people in their own ways. But, being one of the newer people, being one of the first people on this newer frontier could definitely give you a lot more exposure. Seeing as, if you go to YouTube right now, there's a million other YouTubes talking about the same stuff. But, if you're on a newer platform, there really is much less people who are there talking about the same thing.
Yeah, and it also lends itself to the means of sharing Dhamma that comes right down through the lineage, which is sat around having a chat as friends.
Yeah.
Right? So the way that the current social media platforms work, you can't quite get that. I mean, this is the closest that we can get. Right? Certainly, Twitter is text, lots of video platforms, and there you've got the arrangement that's rather like reading a book or listening to a Dhamma talk. It has to be made for a wide audience. I suppose, of course, the way that Dhammarato has come around that is to upload conversation.
No, but looking at it from a wider scale, I do think that VR is still in its opening stages, and it's going to develop much, much more, and it's going to be something much more pivotal in our society and in the upcoming years, possibly in the upcoming decades. But it's going to be there.
It's
100%.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge, because at the rate that our technology is advancing, I figure at least it's only a matter of time before they're able to create some type of virtual reality that can tap in directly to your central nervous system. And once they achieve that technology, it's literally going to be no different from actually being there.
Well, I can hear that that's a natural progression. I suppose we keep wondering where the line is in terms of intrusiveness, don't we? And then we just go ahead and cross it anyway. So,
at the end of if we're going to be completely honest, humankind as a species does not care at all about intrusiveness. Like,
seems that way.
It's the curiosity that drives us. It's the reason we're all here right now.
Mm.
You know, it may very well be the same thing that kills us, but that's just it's just how it is.
Doug, you have a hand up?
Yeah. I don't know. I have no concrete ideas now, but I've had two friends that did, and I think one of them still does work at a VR lounge.
Cool.
Where you can where they have public VR events and you can rent the place. So those two have some experience at least, and one other friend of mine, he does have a VR gaming system at home, which I've also used a few times. So I'm not sure if there could be anything, but I know some people who have dabbled with the whole thing. Maybe it can come in handy in the future.
Yeah, great. Good to know that you have a couple of folks who are who have some experience.
Yeah, I've also used it, but no further experience.
How did you find it?
It can be very great fun. I've mostly used it for VR games, and depending on what you do, it can be quite a lot of fun. I've really liked the aspect that you actually move around a bit. So some of that adrenaline that can be released while playing certain games is actually used for movement.
Yes, it's certainly a new frontier. So I shall keep you all posted.
Yes.
What else?
So how's everyone's week? Or did you guys already go over this without me?
We kind of did a bit of that, didn't we? So Ron, why don't you tell us?
Oh well, I like to think I've had a pretty good week.
I can tell by the smile.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this rate, it's just starting to be where every week is a great week. Every week is a great day. I've definitely been getting a lot deeper into my practice. Like I told you over text, I've been doing the Vipassana body scanning lately, and every day for at least an hour or so, I'll just sit down and I'll scan my body, because I realize on an intellectual level, I'm pretty much there, but you see, it doesn't matter how much you know on an intellectual level, because my brain is still hardwired to perceive reality in the same way that it's been doing for the last 2 decades. So, I've just been doing the body scanning, slowly trying to, kind of disidentify and dissolve my attachment to my body and my current way of perceiving reality. And I feel like slowly but surely I'm getting into deeper levels of concentration, meditation. Like I told you, I realized that even while I was doing this body scanning, I was subconsciously kind of labeling the pieces of my body that I was scanning. And when I realized that, it stopped being body scanning and it started just being scanning for sensations. And I'm able to see that when a sensation arises, my concentration it's much more precise. And I don't put labels on it. I don't make a positive or a negative. I kind of just observe and analyze the sensation as it rises.
Beautiful.
And that's definitely kind of been starting to give me insights to impermanence, because when I do my body scanning, it also reinforces the idea that my entire body, inside and outside, is just sensations. That kind of leads to the insight where if it's just sensations that all arise and pass away, where is there a permanent self in there?
Indeedy. If you find one, let us know.
I definitely will, but I don't think there's anything there to be found.
Nope. Indeed, if you were to find one, you'd blow open the whole of the Buddha's teaching and practice. So,
yeah, no. And then on top of that, I've started to get really back into reading. I've been reading philosophy. Right now. I'm reading Nicomachean Ethics by Aristotle.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, and then I have Daniel Ingram's book right here.
Dog's
I got that one lying around too.
Yeah. And mostly I've just been enjoying myself, enjoying my existence.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the stuff.
And, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Oh, there's one more thing actually. So, one of my friends told me about this YouTuber, right? His name is Guga Foods. This has nothing to do with spirituality or meditation at all. It's simply just my pure enjoyment. Now, this Guga Foods character. So what he does is so he just makes steaks all day, and he tries them, and he eats them, and he cooks them, and so I went on his YouTube channel and I saw this recipe for a compound butter. He calls it the butter of the gods, and I looked at that and I said, wow, the butter of the gods? I have to try that. So I made the butter. I bought some steaks. I cooked the steaks with the butter. And it was probably the best steak that I've ever had.
Okay.
And I really like food. Just anything that has to do with food. I like eating food. I like making food. So when I made something and it came out that good, I was very satisfied.
You're floating, bro.
Yeah, I know.
This is amazing.
Yeah, I can send you guys the recipe.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yes, please do.
It sounds to me like you would have been high on whatever you were doing this week.
Yeah, it's high on existence.
Love it.
I was smoking that Kundalini dope.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Ron, send the recipe. Seriously, that sounds amazing.
No, I will.
Butter.
Yeah, I'll put it right now.
It's called the butter of the gods.
I'll just send the whole filet mignon recipe, but it has like the butter and fries included.
Oh my god! Wait, you made the fries? You made the fries, Ron?
No, I didn't make the fries, but it's there.
Okay. Abby's getting a little squirrely. She wants it right now.
Anybody else want to give an update? Yeah, let's hear from you, Ryan.
So I went on a course last weekend called Matrix Reimprinting.
Matrix Reimprinting.
Yeah. So so I thought that the blind missing link in my skill set, in my healing and therapy skill set, was going back to a memory and seeing where a certain thing first started from. So I could access it with theta healing and hypnotherapy, but I didn't feel that I knew exactly how to access. I wanted to do this. So matrix reimprinting, it's a form of EFT. So he does 3 days of EFT. The other 2 days he teaches matrix reimprinting. Okay. So I've already done EFT. So I just went for the 2 days of the matrix reimprinting course. So what it does is you see how you feel about a certain situation and feel the energy, the shape, the color, connect to it. And with that energy, you go past to a past memory where that energy happened on this thing. Then you meet that person you were at that time. That's called an echo, energetic consciousness hologram. And you do EFT on the echo. And the echo learns, and the echo feels a certain way at that time. After a round or 2 rounds of EFT, the echo feels completely different about the situation. and the situation is like it's healed completely. On a scale of 0 to 10 is 10 to 10. Then you go back to your memory. Then you go back to an earlier memory, and then finally you've got a range of memories, and it's the way the echoes know which memory to take you to, how to take you to. So the healing as such is very comprehensive.
Someone's got some interference on their mic. Could you mute?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So you just go back to the old memories, and there's around 4 or 5 old memories that come up and crop up. And those are the memories that cause a certain current behavior. So when the person sees it, once he sees the dots connect, he stops criticizing himself and he can completely forgive himself and the other person. And when I was doing it with a friend of mine, he went to a certain memory that he was at his mom's breast. That's how early he went. And then he said, this is when, because this was about eating, and he's got his mom's breast, and his daughter's getting, and his sister's getting the attention. And he says, well, no, this is for me. I need this thing, and I need the milk now. Then we do 2 rounds of tapping on that little him then, and then he's happy and he sees the healthier side of the situation. And now he's saying he doesn't have any issues with this thing.
Cool.
With the food and sugars and eating this thing. So I've been doing healing like that. I've probably done around 6, 7, 8 sessions myself. I mean, 4 sessions on myself and others. I've got another 2 sessions booked over the next 3, 4 days. And it's really fascinating. So
yeah. How's it gone for you?
It's gone well. It's going really, really well. I worked on an issue where I was stuck, and then it got sorted out, or some other issue about relationships that was really insightful, and this thing I shared it. It was quite funny, but this thing, and also I'm doing Scientology drills.
Goodness.
With the guy in Australia.
You are standing at the all you can learn buffet.
Yeah.
Filling your plate, brother.
But the Scientology drills are good, because the Scientology drills are like, the first drill is called OTTR0, where I sit with my eyes closed in front of somebody and I stay absolutely still for half an hour. But even then, sitting still, you feel uncomfortable, you feel like moving, you feel like this thing. And then after that, there's TR0, where you sit with your eyes open in front of somebody. And I can only stay for around 10 to 15 minutes before I start dropping off and nodding off.
Wow.
You need to stay in present space. When you move forward and backward and your mind wanders, then this is the difficulty. And then there is TR1, TR2, and then there's I think TR4 is bull baiting, where he screams at you, shouts at you, or tries to make you laugh, and you have to stay absolutely this thing.
Interesting.
To any response. So this is a way to get you stuck in present time.
Right.
So I don't know. I see how it goes, and it also says that it helps you confront if you have a problem in life, how to help you stay with the situation, not be avoidant, not run away. So I'll see how it goes.
Very interesting. I had no idea the Scientologists did that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They've got lots of other drills they do. They've got this other drill called mood drills. Got an emotional tone scale going from 0, 1, from apathy, death, boredom, anxiety, fear, all missing cheerfulness and game and whatever the maximum tone. So you have to read something, maybe a line from Alice in Wonderland in that tone. And with the supervisor, and the supervisor has to be quite strict with you. You have to hit that tone. If you don't hit that tone, then there's something, then he flunks you. And then so as you go up, you start hitting a plateau. That is where your chronic tone level is.
Okay.
And then so once you break that, and it's a way of quickly getting out of a depression, out of a low mood spell or anxiety, because and then he says you and your twin will be laughing when you're doing this thing. So anyway, this is what I need to do to build over TRG, bull baiting and all that. Then he said maybe what you can do is maybe the gradient was too high for you on the TR0 with the eyes open. You need to go to OTTR0 with the eyes closed, because I said, yeah, even with the eyes closed, I was uncomfortable.
Okay.
This is also something that comes from my meditation. Is I'm uncomfortable, I want to move, I want to this thing, I feel, especially if I loving kindness.
We've got interference again, guys. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, and then so if there's the thing about, I don't think Ron's got the picture. Yeah, okay, he got it. So the thing is that with the mood drills, it's a quick way to snap out of depression, he said. So I need to do these, TR1 to 4 drills. The scale, I didn't get the gradient right because I felt uncomfortable with the first thing, even with eyes closed. And I feel that's an issue with my meditation, with the breath meditation, tranquil wisdom insight meditation, loving kindness meditation. With all of them, I feel restless. But with the transcendental meditation, somehow I don't feel restless. So
cool.
But then I'm not sure how good transcendental meditation is for the progress of insight. So,
oh, goodness, I mean, you're taking yourself through so many different teachings and practices right now that I suppose, in a sense, you're making a science experiment of yourself, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, they say you should stick to one. So the one, I mean, I've not done any transcendental meditation in a while. I've not done any breath meditation. I'm trying to stick to the tranquil wisdom insight meditation, which is just feeling the loving kindness and radiating it out. But that feels uncomfortable for me because I thought, if I do, I'll be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So stick to one.
Well, sure, but I mean, I'm including all of these other trainings that you're taking on as well. You know, those are teachings and or practices, right? Yeah, and of course it's all the mind. And so of these many methods, I wonder if one will surface.
So maybe that's what I'm thinking, is that maybe just focus on the Scientology drills for now. Maybe that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to look at myself in FaceTime and just practice with that and start improving with those drills and increase the time with that. Because I think what happens with the Scientology with these drills, it should automatically get me in the mind state that a shit ton of meditation would get me to, which is, I mean, which is just being able to stay in one place comfortably and stay in present time.
Well, there's one thing you could try also, if you want to. You could just try a meditation where, you know, you sit down, you agree with yourself, you sit down for a set amount of time, and for that set amount of time, you don't willingly do anything. So it's kind of like do nothing meditation, I guess. I feel like it's a pretty good method.
Did you tell me you tried do nothing in the past, Ryan?
Yeah, I tried, but the mind just wanders. No, I've got a monkey mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's not do nothing meditation. You just don't willingly do anything, because whatever your mind does is it's going to do anyways. Just, you know, the point of that do nothing meditation is to kind of let you take a step back and observe it from a point where you're able to see it happening while you're not even necessarily doing anything. You know, that's actually kind of something that Dan taught me, because I was having the same problem with my do nothing meditation. And, you know, Dan comes up to me and says, well, that's kind of the point, isn't it? You know, like the mind still wants to do something either way.
The do nothing meditation shows you everything you want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think that what you're getting from these drills, Ryan, if I understand it, is that you're trying to kind of turn up the heat, so to speak. I've heard, I think it was Ramdas who I heard talking about an eye contact meditation that I tried with someone at one time, and it certainly was different to meditating on my own. And so I think there's stuff to be learned in all directions here.
Brian, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Which meditation technique would you say that you stuck with for the longest? If you were to put it down, which of these many techniques did you find yourself either coming back to again and again, or you understand as sort of like fundamental to your practice? Is there any of those like that?
I love transcendental meditation.
Oh, okay.
But can you explain what transcendental meditation is to me?
We lost your mic.
Ron, we keep saying this to you, man. You got to get with the plan. Got the mic out.
I think Ron asked you a question, Ryan.
No, I think it was Rick.
No, I asked you if you could explain what transcendental meditation is.
I explained it.
Rick had a question beforehand as well.
Which was, it's just, you just repeat a mantra to yourself.
And so why do you feel that you need to add more to what that is? I'm just curious, like why are you adding more techniques to that, if that's like one that you stuck with for so long? I'm just curious. I'm not criticizing. I just want to know.
Yeah, so the reason why was that I started looking at different types of meditation. Ron, there's a lot of interference from your microphone.
Sorry, I'm eating. I'll just mute myself till I'm done.
Okay, go ahead.
It's all that compound butter.
So what I did was that I was looking at different ways to meditate. And I was doing the transcendental meditation, and I really liked doing it. Then I came across Daniel Ingram's book and the mindfulness of breath, and also the mind illuminated. And I thought, wait a second, there's a structure over here. Let me go according to the structure and work according to it. So at that time, as I was seeking and looking around, I came across Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation. And they said Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation, the people who do it, is that this is the thing the Buddha originally spoke about. He only spoke about the mindfulness of breath a couple of times in his original discourses. And he said this is the one that helped him get there more accurately. And so then what I finally decided was that, so it looks like, I'm just looking around, it looks like that the disturbance isn't from Ron.
Well,
unless it's mine, this thing, it's the whole. So sorry.
What I've found to be helpful, guys, in larger groups sometimes is to have all the mics muted unless you're speaking. That can help with this kind of thing.
Oh, it was Dan. It was Dan actually. Yeah, Dag. So it was his mic. So I think Ron, sorry, I think you were unfairly singled out. It was Dag. Dag was the bad boy. Or Dag's mic.
It's okay. I accept your apology.
I rustled around with the charge of the device just now. I don't know if that's contributed to it. Maybe.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. So then what I learned actually at that time was that it goes into the Tranquil Wisdom Insight meditation I felt would be the meditation for me. And it was really quick. You can move up the jhanas really quickly. You learn the lessons, and I thought with my personality, it's the best sort of meditation to do, because it's loving kindness meditation, you feel good. And the only meditation is you smile and feel good. That's it. If you have a thought, listen to the thought and you relax into the thought and you smile and feel good. So the entire meditation is just feeling good. So I thought, wow, this is the best meditation in the world. And it's the fastest also. And so that insight actually made me afraid and leave TWIM, because I thought, man, I don't want to get enlightened. I don't want to move up this thing. Let me just do my TM so I can increase my focus. But what happens is that, there's a pull and a draw with this thing, no? So you just get pulled and drawn into it, into the journey. And so this is what I came across. Rod.
Just throwing my plate out.
Thank you for understanding.
So it seemed like you have these two solid methods, right? TM and what do you say, insight, wisdom meditation, loving kindness meditation. But then you mentioned some other ones too. So it's again, I could never collect that many. I would really have to stay with one or two I guess for a while, just to see how they were going to play out. That's just, again, I'm not trying to criticize, but I was just thinking to myself, if I were going to start like a new martial art, for example, which I've done, I would stay with that one for a while to see how it went, and before I started looking into others. But again, I think I've said this before. There's something to be said for discipline, as far as sitting down and sticking to that particular, in order to, and it sounds like you've gained a lot of benefit from these meditation. But I just, I know for myself, I wouldn't be able to jump around too much without feeling like I was collecting, I guess is the best word for me. I would say collecting. So
I feel that absolute sense, because I have that personal habit of just trying to move around from shiny and try something new all the time. That I've done the lessons here, and the lessons that I've learned is that despite TM working, and what I've learned from my chats with Dan is needing discipline, because in my vocabulary, discipline is a bad word. Discipline means you need to force yourself to do it. So discipline is my trigger that there's something going wrong. Something is not right.
I see.
I just want to offer something, guys, before we get too far away from where this all started. And Alex, I know you've had your hand up for some time, brother. I will come to you. Ryan, I don't think you actually answered Rick's question, which was, why did you feel from TM, Transcendental Meditation, that you needed to go elsewhere? You told us what the elsewhere was like. You told us what you liked about it, but I didn't hear a strong reason for you to jump from the Transcendental Meditation to whatever came next.
I said that I didn't feel the Transcendental Meditation would move me along on the progress of insight.
Right, and then you found, with the next method, you said that you didn't want to get enlightened.
Yeah, and then I said that when I didn't want to get enlightened, I got pulled into it automatically.
I see.
And then once I started speaking to you, it's like, no, there's no choice. You have to go along with it. So then now what I've finally decided, let me stick with the Tranquil Wisdom Insight meditation. Do it in small steps, that it's consistent at a smaller time limit, 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Because again, when I was doing the meditations, when I was doing 20 minutes, 2 days later, she said, do 30 minutes. 2 days later, she said, do 45 minutes. And that's when I started disliking it. So I think I need to go back into that. But I think I'll take Rick's point because I've learned this lesson now. I just scatter my energies everywhere just to stick to one thing, which is maybe I'll just stick with the Scientology drills for now.
Well,
through the Scientology drills. No, because it's the same thing as the meditation. The Scientology drills are a form of meditation. I need to stay still,
okay.
and I need to stay in the present moment.
Yeah. Now we could take 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4 dozen practices that are all about staying in the present moment.
Yeah, I'm just aware that lots of other people are wanting to say things, so I don't want to take over.
I think it's fine. I imagine we're all finding this quite interesting. Am I right?
Yeah, keep going, Ryan.
I have a question for Ryan.
Well, should we see what Alex has to say first, guys? Because he's patiently waiting for.
No, you guys are fine. I'm getting all annoyed and irritated over here, but not for any actual specific reason. It's just noticing it. I don't want to sound like an asshole. If I do, I'm sorry in advance. But Ryan, and I really wasn't listening to the whole thing, so this could be completely misguided. But I was just listening to what you were saying about how like you like to move from like one shiny thing to another because you need something different after a while. And the conclusion that I'm drawing, or the assertion that I'm making, is that maybe that's because at a certain point in the practice that you have, you reach a level of dissatisfaction with your practice or with your own experience. And so you think that it's the practice that needs to be changed or altered. Really, the value might be in just sitting with that dissatisfaction, with whatever technique that you might be having. Because, while it's good to feel good, I mean, Dan has helped me out with that a lot. Like samatha, breathing practices, focusing on the breath is good when you want relief and things are feeling overwhelming. But ultimately, if freedom is what we're interested in, it's not about changing a condition or circumstance or practice. It's about accepting this as it is right here, being with this, like getting this is all there is. And if that disappoints you, okay, there's your practice. There's your reward right there. I'm going through that right now. What I was going to say is I had a trip. I took some mushrooms. It had been like almost about 6 months. I went so deep into emptiness in this trip, I thought I was going to die. I don't know if any of you guys have ever tripped before, but I literally felt like I was going to die. And there was complete terror and complete peace in it at the same time. I literally thought the world as it was going to cease to exist, that everything was just going to go black and I was going to be gone. And I eventually, at one point, I just kind of I think I tapped out, like, okay, I can't go any further because this is like the edge of my knowing. If I go further, I truly have no idea what was going to happen. And the next day I woke up and it was like a memory. And what I forgot to say though is, as soon as I tapped out, there was a whole level of freedom. Like I was like completely infinite and unlimited. There was nothing that mattered. Everything that was mundane was beautiful and peaceful. Everything that was exciting was mundane. It didn't matter whatever was going on. I was so fucking free. And then I woke up the next day and it was like, okay, all right, hello, dissatisfaction. I knew it probably wasn't going to stay with me, even though I was very convinced it was. I got to the one point in my trip where I was like, oh, there's no such thing as a trip. This is it. This is it now. This is just how I am.
Well, technically, you're not wrong.
And I know technically I'm not wrong, but it went back into egoic consciousness, as Artem said on the Discord. And it's quite interesting, though, to think like there's really, at some level, there's really nothing I could do about it. There's nothing I could do about it. Nothing I could do about it when it went to complete freedom. Nothing I could do about it when it all went back to egoic consciousness, except to continue to let go into whatever experience there was at that moment, again and again and again and again and again. And when I was on that trip, it was like each layer of resistance became its own allowing. And it was beautiful. It was amazing. And I got to be honest with you guys, I'm kind of like, I think I'm starting to realize I'm heartbroken, because I feel like I got the gold. Like I got everything. And then it just got like ripped away from me. And I don't know where it is. I mean, obviously, like, it's not anywhere. It's right here. But, like, it's not. And the more and more I'm just like, okay, just accept this. Okay, hello, dissatisfaction. Just be with this. And it's like, fuck. It's like elusive. It's just gone. It's like it's as if it never even happened. But I know it did. I trust my seeing. But
I think I can actually relate here.
So fucking dissatisfied right now. I'm just realizing, like, as I've been on the phone with you guys, that I think, like, the whole time I've been like, oh, be careful. Like, you're reaching for that experience. Okay, you're comparing. Okay, dissatisfaction. Okay, hello, Dukkha. Like, and just let it all be, like, good seeing. You know, I've been doing everything. I've been the perfect student. Okay, and where's my freedom? So,
and I mean, I can completely understand that, because I definitely went through like a similar type of course with LSD as well. And, you know, it's interesting, because when you're under the influence of whatever substance it is you're taking, you know, you have that same ideology. You know, you see things clearly as they are. You're like, oh, it's just emptiness. It's what's always been here. I've always been here. And then the day after, you know, it seems almost as if you're looking for something that's not there anymore. And that's kind of where the problem and the illusion itself arises. You know, you're looking for something, you know, like you said. And you see, that's why I've started getting into Vipassana a lot, because, you know, I've come to realize that, you know, I don't frown upon psychedelics at all. I like to see them as a tool, which, if used right, can definitely advance you on the spiritual path a fair amount, because they do give rise to these experiences and insights, I'd want to say, that previously one couldn't imagine. But, you know, I kind of like to think of them as training wheels, just so that you know that there's something more than your day-to-day experience that exists, or that there's a higher level of perceiving it. But at the end of the day, you don't experience it like that because of the conditioning that your brain has from a day-to-day basis. And, you know, that's where the seeing clearly part kind of comes in. You know, you're still experiencing the same exact thing that you were experiencing yesterday. It's just, you know, your brain has rebuilt some of its conditionings that were viciously torn down from the psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
It's funny, Alex, you mentioned that the way you got to that place was not by like continuing to grapple with the experience of the fear of death, or what you talk about, but it was by letting go, right?
Yes.
And what you're doing now is the opposite, right? You're wanting that experience again. But I think your smile is telling me that, like, you kind of know that that's not how you get there, or that's not how you got there.
Exactly. And then I'll be like, okay, just let go into this. And it's like, you know, it's a verbal reminder, but I know I can feel it too. I know that I can feel it deeper than.
See, that's kind of a problem with psychedelics.
Let go, because honestly, that's the deepest I've ever gone on a trip. I took like a very little dose. It took only like 3.2 grams. Like, I've taken 6 grams before, and it has never gone that deep for me. I think it only went that because of the being.
2 grams is not a small dose of mushrooms.
It's definitely not a big one.
Well, it depends, but I did 6 before, and it wasn't nearly as intense as this. And I think you know, Artemis said, you don't need to take a huge dose. I think it has a lot to do with what level of
I mean, you have to understand too, there's also like a lot of different factors that change things on that. It was also like the type of mushrooms, the potency of them. I will agree that where you are in a mental standpoint now versus where you were then also has a big influence. But like, for example, you know, you can say the dosage doesn't matter, but if you took the same exact shrooms that you took, but instead of 2 grams, you took 6, you would have had a much, much more intense experience.
I think for me, and you know, I don't know if it's true, but it just feels correct, is the reason why I had as intensive an experience as it is because I was ready for it and I'm open to it. There's like a deeper open experience. That's what
you're probably exactly right.
Becoming more intimate with our experience.
I think it's
whether I'm on psychedelics or not.
I think it's helpful to have the reminder of maybe what the Buddha taught or what we're looking for. I think sometimes there's the idea of finding these extremely pleasurable states and resting in those, but really what was taught is dukkha dukkha nirodha, right? Satisfaction, satisfaction. It's very, very simple. So all you need to do is satisfaction, not this much satisfaction, not satisfaction times 1,000, just satisfaction.
I know, guys. Like, all I have to say is a resounding I know, and what I know makes no difference. But
and the insight is that, and this is the lesson. This is the lesson. The reason the mushroom showed you that lesson is that they're showing you this is how you're not supposed to feel. In terms of that, the best experience you've had in the last month has been the worst experience that you've had in the last month. It's given you more pain than anything else.
I don't know, what I've come to see with psychedelics is what they do is they tend to give you an opportunity to let go. And see, that's the part of it that I do support, because, you know, it's like actual meditation, but on a smaller scale. Because, you know, I can speak from experience and say throughout all my psychedelic experiences, there was some type of peak point where I was able to see that there was something beyond the scope of my awareness. And, you know, it was like you take the red pill or the B pill. You know, you can either fight it or you can accept and die into it. Right. And, you know, I'd like to think that's kind of trained me with these mini cessations. You know, every time I was able to let go, I would instantly get blown into like a new dimension almost.
The point I'm making, Alex, I've had drugs like 5-MeO, DMT, which step into oneness, which step
me too.
Duality. Okay, so there's that thing. So, but what I'm suggesting, Alex, is that you had this experience. It was a phenomenal experience, but see how much pain you're feeling now, how much pain that experience has caused you or is causing you.
Right after the spiritual high, you go into the dark night.
I don't know. I see it. What do you have to say about this, Dan?
Well, I just said, let's kick the habit. Let's stop getting high and let's stop getting low.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's why I think the Vipassana meditation like really helps, because, you know, all these differentiations between these high states and these low states that you're experiencing, they're based off what you know and what you develop as your ideology as a human. You know, you see good and bad, but at the end of the day, these are all just sensations formed together with your body telling you a story. And, you know, that's why I really like the Vipassana meditation, because you come to see that it's all just sensations and they're all in the same footing. And when you feel good or when you feel bad, you're just experiencing a sensation, and your brain is just telling you a story as to what that sensation is.
So it's not necessarily the experience that's the problem. It's the fact that you had the experience and now you want it again. You're holding on to it.
It's the attachment to the experience.
Yeah.
And it's caused you so much pain all through this time.
And you talk about
that you know it, but we can say, yes, you know it, but the most important part is remembering it, and remembering it when you need it the most, right? You can know these things here in this environment, and recognize that, and then the skill to be practiced would be sati, and to remember that, and to remind yourself of that, and let yourself enjoy that.
Yes.
Sati, Alex, being a Pali term with which you might not be familiar.
Sati is, yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Often translated as mindfulness, but the literal translation being to remember. Or better still, as Parker is pointing to remember to remember.
Mm.
To remember what this is about.
What must be developed first. I mean, that's why you're doing these things and trying to find these things out. But once you develop some right view in terms of what is wholesome to spend your mind on, what is dissatisfying, right? Then you must develop the skill of remembering when you are dissatisfied to let yourself be satisfied. And then that'll develop, that you'll need to have the right effort there, to when you wake up to this dissatisfaction, with the sati, you'll have the right effort of letting go of the dissatisfaction, letting yourself relax into the satisfaction. And then the Buddha talks about how these three things that we're talking about, right view, right sati, and right effort, circle around themselves. You'll continue to develop the right view, and then you'll wake up, and you'll use the right effort to let yourself become satisfied. And they circle around themselves, developing the right attitude of I actually can become satisfied whenever, and that's the fourth step, is the right attitude. Once this circle is becoming a skill that's developed, you then have the attitude of, oh, I can do this. I can be satisfied when I want to, when I remember to.
So I want to make sure I have this right, Parker, because I feel as though I have been practicing what you're saying, but I just want to make sure that I have been by confirming what you just said. So when I wake up, for instance, or I'll just say even right now, I notice there's dissatisfaction. So that's the first step, right? Noticing, okay, there's dissatisfaction here, and then reaching for, an experience, or reaching for relief. Okay, there's dissatisfaction again. So I notice it first, and then what you're saying is then I can also bring in the remembering, wait, I can relax into this dissatisfaction and be satisfied here right now. I can be satisfied within the dissatisfaction. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, and this is what would be called gladdening the mind, or Dhammarato would say, aha, I see you, Mara. In the sense that I see this dissatisfaction that's ignorant, and I'm feeling bad for really not a great reason. And you can then gladden the mind and give yourself a big smile, and remember that you can enjoy things.
Yeah, well, there's two things I can add on to that. Two things that you could do in that situation. One of them, something that Dan has taught me. It's it's kind of just acknowledging yourself. You might be feeling the dissatisfaction, but you can just as easily reverse that by saying, this present moment is good enough. Even if you are feeling the dissatisfaction, accepting the present moment as it is can be a very powerful thing. You can accept your dissatisfaction and say, this is okay. This is happening right now, and this is good enough. Or, another thing you can do is you can ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? How do I know that I'm dissatisfied right now? What is the physical translation of that within my body? Where is it happening? What does it mean to be dissatisfied? Kind of try to dissect and more deeply analyze what this feeling of dissatisfaction even is.
I think the key is less what does it mean at first, but more try and wake up to where it is in your body, because that'll take you off of the dissatisfaction. And then you can, if you're feeling some anxiety, per se, you can breathe in and see if you can move that anxiety around in your body, and that'll allow you to realize that it really is just a sensation. or that anxiety will take you out of those thoughts of, I don't like this anxiety, I don't like this feeling in my chest, I don't like how I feel right now, into just feeling it, and realizing that it is just a sensation and that it's okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Rick.
Reminders. The thing has been, it is so frustrating. Well, at least that's what I believe right now, because everything that you guys are saying, I remind myself of. I remind myself to do these things. It is not the first time I've heard these things, is what I said. I do think you must know me. Yeah, it's different from remembering though, and also like accessing them. So
practicing.
But I feel, Alex, even this is just that it's like it's difficult. It's difficult. You have to accept the discomfort. You have to stay with the discomfort. And it's what you told me also. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with staying with discomfort. And what I really want is I want joy from morning to night with every second.
Well, see, that's I feel like that's the problem within itself. It's kind of impossible to feel unconditional joy in a conditional manner. You see, as humans, we're prone to go through the motions. You don't get to pick and choose what emotions you experience on a day-to-day basis. Like, I know this is a bit of an extreme example, but let's say, God forbid, someone close to you dies. You're not going to be able to go to their funeral with infinite joy. You're going to be sad because someone close to you has passed away.
But even at that time, feeling sadness is joy. It's a beautiful emotion.
Well, exactly.
Well, yes,
that's
I think
what I was going to say.
You're heading more in the direction of what would be called equanimity with that, Ryan.
Yeah, that is the unconditional joy.
I'm looking for joy. I'm looking for joy. Sadness feels amazing. Crying feels amazing. Okay. So that's what I see, because my day is filled with back-to-back joy. From the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep is joy. Is my dag, yeah. It's just
good to see you, Dad.
It's just joy stacked on back to back to back. So that's where I'd like to be, not where I'm attached or looking for the happiness or wanting the happiness or this thing, but
it's just there.
The joy. See, because even in all this time, I can find, okay, Ron has got his mic on. He's interrupting every time everybody speaks. He just keeps coming in, and he's got all the answers. Okay, but there's joy in all of it also. Okay,
yeah,
so that's the thing. Okay, and then all I have to see, man, Ron is like that because I'm like that. I keep coming in thinking I've got all the fucking answers. So how can I point a finger at him?
Indeed, and those experiences can be joyful.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think it's that's a much broader concept of joy than where we all start. We start with that very dualistic kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like equanimity to me.
Well, indeed, and so we're kind of playing semantics here, right? But I think that what Ryan's pointing to is that he does have sensations of joy, which is wonderful.
I mean, just today, I just went and I went to work. There was a problem at work that sorted itself out automatically. I came home. I got my TV delivered. Beautiful TV.
Nice.
Then I put on IPTV on it, so I'm just enjoying that. Then I was sleeping. I spoke to my landlord. I got a couple of nice messages from friends. I'm over here, which is always enlivening. Then I'm going to do some Scientology drills immediately after this with my other friend. So it's just back-to-back joy.
Lovely. Good. Oh, I think you might be breaking up, Ryan.
Am I? Geez, I hope the internet that's been dodgy and the mic and the sound is not me. Yes, sir.
I think we just maybe lost a few words from you there, but yeah. Yeah, that all sounds wonderful. And indeed, we're all pointing in the same direction.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you're making. That a lot of it is semantics. You know, in philosophy, they do a lot of trying to come to like a definition of something so then they can use it to talk about it, right? First, they go into, okay, this is what all the philosophers said before, and logically, this is what this definition really means. So now that we've established that, we can go ahead and use that word to mean these things, and here are the arguments for and against, etc. Right? And so we shouldn't. I don't think it's a good idea to try and, but yeah, we are getting into a little bit of that messiness of categorization and language, and I can see a little bit of that chasing it around, you know, and that's fine. It's a bit about that mental bubblegum though. There's some chewing going on, and that's fine too, right? All of it's fine. But you know, yeah, I'm observing that as well in some of these conversations.
It's like a bit of a loophole, honestly.
A loophole?
Well, yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, we're all just using concepts defined by language to try to explain, you know, our thoughts and what it is that we're really feeling. And at the end of the day, the language itself is an inhibitor in that matter.
Well, indeed. You know, and it's quite comfortable, actually. I have found it comfortable, certainly at times, to sit in language is inadequate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I can't adequately explain all of this to anyone, so I won't bother. Now I'm off.
Yeah, but I feel like that's where kind of what Rick was talking about comes up, because, you know, essentially it could be that we're all talking about more or less the same thing, but we're just kind of having this little debate because of our differing ways of explaining that.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's basically,
yeah, and so
it's kind of what philosophy is too.
Right, but once we point it out, well, now we can go ahead and continue with words, having pointed out that, yes, we're using words, right?
Yeah.
They're fallible, they're flawed. Bye, Ryan. Enjoy, brother. Great to hear from you.
Bye, Ryan. Good to see you.
See you.
Yeah, I actually got to go too. There's a few things I need to get done today, but
it's
lovely talking to you guys.
Yeah,
see you next
It was
week.
great to see you, Ron.
Bye, brother.
See you around.
See you around.
Bye.
Thank you.
Alex?
Yeah, I just noticed. I'm like talking to you guys and listening, and I'm like, fuck all, fuck you. I don't give a shit what you guys are saying. Okay, I know better. Yeah, and I just closed my eyes and I took your advice, Parker, and yours, Dan, and Ron's too, and I just closed my eyes and I just noticed, okay, where is the dissatisfaction? And just asking that question, there was satisfaction. Just in asking that question, I was like, oh, there was like this humming, there's like this buzzing of sensation that I couldn't actually say was dissatisfying. It was like, wow, this is actually kind of satisfying. Okay, can it be enough? And it was like just in, and then what I noticed is I think I was actually clinging to dissatisfaction, and it was beyond me. I didn't even see it. So thank you. You know, here, what the fuck? It is truly a fucking trip. It's like, what the actual fuck? Like, I close my eyes, I ask myself, where's the dissatisfaction? And I can't find it. I open my eyes, I say I'm dissatisfied. I close my eyes, where's the dissatisfaction? Can't find it. It's truly a trip. So I'm just letting go into it. I'm just going to die into it. If that's a technique, oh, fuck all. If dissatisfaction shows up again, I'll just do the same thing. It's, you know, that's the practice.
So that's all it is.
So
it's that
even
simple.
with the limitations of language, sometimes it just takes one comment even with all those limitations and categories, sometimes it takes just one comment and then boom, you get that insight too. And for me, it's about to spur me on to my practice. And I know Ryan doesn't like that word discipline, but I do. I think I think it's important to have that habitual, whether you want to or not, in a given day, because I feel that moods change, right? But practice doesn't need to. And I find that in most cases, the body leads the mind. If so often you find like, well, I'm not in the mood to A, practice, B, exercise, C, clean, whatever. But once you get started, that mood changes anyway. It's like, so then in that case, then the discipline was useful in this case because it pulled you into being in, quote, the mood. Right. So, to me, I know Ryan's gone. I'm not going to talk about him when he's not here. But to me, I didn't get a chance to say this to him, but I have no problem with discipline. I think it's very, very useful tool to bringing about these kinds of changes that we are seeking as a group or individually, to me. So anyway.
Yeah, because I think what you point out, Rick, is you dispel the myths of the mind. Mood is like a myth in that moment. Oh, I'm not in the mood.
Yeah,
well, then all of a sudden you start engaging differently in life, and it's like, whoa, what happened? So it's like you dispel and demystify these myths in your mind.
Right, because it's about what leads me back to the practices that I've chosen to engage in for not for years and years, but for each day. I look at it like each day. I'm practicing today, this thing, today, this moment. Not thinking about, oh, I can't wait till I'm down the path a few years and I don't think about that at all. I don't think about 6 months from now, what it's going to be like. Because I've done that a bunch before, and it didn't help at all. It just distracted me from the practice, from the discipline of it. But to me, it's just like making your bed. You don't think about all the times you're going to have to make your bed in your life. You wouldn't make it at all, right? That's a lot of damn pulling those sheets straight, putting those pillows up, whatever. You just think about, I got to get it done this moment, this time. I don't got to, but I choose to, this moment, this time. Oh, look, it's done. Done, satisfied. Okay, let's sit. Not thinking about, in a week, in a year. Just this moment, sit and have the discipline to do it now. And that's great. So, anyway.
Yeah, and you're talking about, how you could abstractly start measuring how much pulling of the sheets, how much fluffing of those pillows. In the same way, how much we're saving ourselves by not going there. How much mental bubblegum
we're not doing. Because we started this, we started by talking about the futility of measuring.
Yeah.
Right? The futility of measuring. Right? And Alan Watts has some really cool things to say about where the word measure comes from, where the word matter, how those two are related and everything. And so that's a big, for me, a big important reminder, constant reminder. It's like, wow, look at me measuring, look at me evaluating. I can do that with my students because I am trying to progress them. I do need to have some, but as far as the other stuff, no, it's just the daily practice, the daily whatever, making the bed, whatever. So, the measurement.
Beautiful.
Anyway.
Absolutely beautiful, guys. It's getting late for me. I'm going to head out. Of course, you can all carry on if you wish.
No, I've got to go to work.
I'm not sure if we've tested that yet. I mean, since I dial up, does it continue if I hang up myself? Maybe one of you or two of you could hang around just for a few seconds to see if it's actually the case that you can continue.
Yes, I'm pretty sure the video call does continue. We've had in the past that Dhammarato left the group, and we could try it just in case.
Oh no, I suspect if it works that way,
let's try it just in case, because someone else might have started that call actually, and it might have been a workaround.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, great seeing you again. as always. Really,
all right, guys.
See you all soon.
Bye.